Blake's Buzz Live. Buzz, 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 buzz. It's Blake's Buzz Live. Buzz, 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 buzz. It's Blake's Buzz Live. More, hate less, read comics. It's Blake's Buzz Live.
Buzz, buzz, babies.
Buzz, babies. What is up, everybody? It is Monday, but Monday's over, right? It's Monday night, so we're all done with work. We're going to talk some comics. We're going to have some laughs. I'm going to drink some beer. I don't think I got a big enough beer. Maybe I needed a bigger one. I don't know. Anyways, I'm really excited to welcome this guest. He's been on the show a couple times before, and you guys have heard me talk about this comic. You've heard him talk about this comic. TOXX is funded. Issues 3 and 4 are happening. All right. So I'm so excited to talk about it. I've got Evan Carothers in the house. The man behind the madness of Woven Press is here again.
Yo.
How you doing, buddy?
Good. I'm very sober, but I just saw myself come in here and I'm kind of sitting at an angle. So I'm like, am I drunk? Like, what the? Very weird. There we go. Let's fix that. I'm good.
Yeah. Nice. You've been doing some traveling lately, right? You guys with a new little baby, and
ain't too new anymore. He's 2 years old, but yes.
Oh, he's 2. I thought he was fresh, like not like when we first started talking.
Yeah, time flies, man.
That's crazy. He'll be in college by tomorrow. Shit. So yeah, like I mentioned, TOXX is funded, and a few hundred over goal now. Like we're getting those last minute backers in, which is exciting. What was this campaign like for you? Because I've been seeing, when I'm doom scrolling on the socials, I know you had some advertisements and stuff, and kind of trying to increase outreach and all that stuff. Like how you feeling about the campaign now that's wrapping up?
Yeah, it's good. It went pretty similar to the last one. I think it was a little slower up front, but kind of picked up and maintained a pretty good, consistent pace throughout. I definitely try to do a little bit of, advertisement just because you always hear those marketing statistics about how some people have to see or get reminded about a product, 10 to 15 times before they buy it. So you got to be everywhere.
Yeah. It's dude, believe me, I know. I know because I've been posting on what is it now? So it's Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Blue Sky, and Threads now. And I guess Threads is failing. I don't know. I keep seeing engagement is down on Threads, but I mean, if I post stuff and people share it, somebody's seeing it. So I'm just gonna keep doing it, I guess.
Who knows, man? There's Pillow Fort and Reddit, and social media is just sometimes depresses the shit out of me.
Dude, I tried to fuck around on Reddit and I got yelled at by mods. They were like,
welcome to Reddit.
That's what
you're not getting yelled at by somebody. You're not on Reddit.
It was just weird because it's I found that big indie comics corner, right? And it was and then I tweeted about this cool, and I wasn't I'm the publicist for Evan. I was like, hey, this is a cool comic you guys should check out. And then the mods were like, can you post this on Thursdays? We only let people post stuff on Thursdays. And I'm like,
right.
Why would you only want people to talk about comics on Thursdays? I was just trying to figure that out, but whatever. They're obviously not running Kickstarter campaigns.
Right. Yeah, I think they get a lot of
one day a week, we'd be fucked.
Some of those forums are very much old school, like Marvel, DC. We're going to talk about all these old character arcs and stuff. And let's just talk about non-Marvel, DC, indie comics for 5 minutes every Thursday.
Yeah, it's enough people talk about Marvel and DC, man. That's we need places to do other stuff and and celebrate the wild world of indie comics, which is sometimes just as treacherous as the wasteland of TOXX. if you look about it. Speaking of, I don't know if you guys have been living on a rock in the middle of the ocean or something. I guess we would call that an island.
Yeah.
But we're here to talk about TOXX, which is releasing its 3rd and 4th issue on Kickstarter. They're done, right? I got to read them,
Monday. Yep.
and you guys are not ready. It's sad, it's violent, it's intense. Tension is cranked up to 11. Like, man, you are relentless, Evan. You just like you just don't care who you hurt. You're just you're ruthless.
Welcome to my life. I mean this comic.
I like that though. It's if you can't initiate an emotional response from your audience, I would say like you're not doing a great job, right? And
For sure.
if some characters don't return and you don't care about that, then you're also not doing your job as a storyteller. And you've definitely provided us with a cast that we are a little protective of. We've well, the public's had seen the 2 issues, right? Or if they're just direct market people. Did one hit direct market yet, or is it still?
I think a couple days ago. I have to follow up, but yeah, I believe you should be able to get it now.
Nice. So yeah, I mean, these you've initiated an emotional response already. Like we love these characters, we love this adventure they're on, and we love the trauma you're putting them through. Right? It's very addictive, and it makes for very easy turning pages. Also, with the art is glorious, but I just as I joke around saying you're ruthless, but you're doing a good job with the story, with the characters, and the plot beats and stuff. And all I've got to say is backers on that are already set up for 3 and 4, you're in for a treat. You're going to be eating good, and everybody, like, I have no idea what's going to happen in this finale, and it's super exciting. Is issue 5, is it going to be a standard length comic, or are you going to draw it out?
Yeah, 5 is the same length as the rest of them.
Okay, I didn't know if maybe we'd get like not like a double-sized issue, but maybe some extra pages or something. But yeah, that's exciting, man. When have you even thought about launching issue 5 and stuff yet, or is that like?
Yeah, I mean, I got to get 3 and 4 printed and fulfilled as fast as humanly possible, but my goal is to get 5 turned around quickly. The art is done and just getting colored, and then I got to letter it, but that's going to go fast. So,
oh wow.
I mean, I want to get it. As a consumer of comics, I want to wait the least amount of time before I get the next issue of a series I'm into. So I'm trying to get it out as fast as possible. And I got 6 other books in the back burner that need to get kickstarted. So I know keep moving.
You keep sending me stuff, and I want to talk about it, and you're like, you can't talk about it yet, Blake. And I'm like, it's so hard because and a lot of people don't know this because they haven't got to see what you're working on, or maybe just like when you post like pages and panels every now and then, but you've got some really cool stuff in the works. You've got a historical vampire book coming out, and then like a she assassin kind of book coming out, a cool like melee cyberpunk fighter book coming. I mean, like there's a lot of cool stuff that you have up your sleeve, and it's very impressive, and I congratulate you on doing that. And being you got the baby, you got the wife, you got other you got other things handling, you got the day job, you got the tabletop RPG business and stuff going. Like you're juggling a lot of chainsaws, man. You ever worried you're gonna slip and like cut a finger?
No, I mean, what's the worst that happens? I just end up running out of money. No, it's a passion for me too. I'd be making comics if no matter what. I without trying to sound weird about it, like I don't love selling comics, and I love when people get to read the stories, and a part of being able to do that is to sell them to people, right? So they get out there and you can have the money to keep creating more. But I like the creation 100 times more. I would do it, assuming I could afford it, I would do it just for the cathartic therapeutic experience of creating them.
Yeah. That's good. So, that's that real deal fire inside, man. You got those stories that you got to get out. And it's just you got that itch that's like that's for you're forever scratching it like poison ivy, right? You scratch and you scratch and you scratch, and then it gets gross. But that's actually a bad analogy compared to what you're doing.
I was going to say that.
Like it's not like that at all. But no, it's that continuous need to do it, right? That's always like burning underneath your skin is basically what I was.
I mean, Yeah, it's at this point, honestly, I've become addicted to getting new art in my inbox as fast as possible. So when I get, close to complete with a couple of projects or, projects done, I got nothing going where I'm expecting new art. I'm like, even if I have 5 books to kickstart still that I haven't seen a light of day, I'm like, fuck, new story is starting right now. Gotta get back in the art train here. So it's certainly an addiction that is not entirely fueled by what might say the smartest long-term business plan, but it seems to be working. So
Yeah, I mean, you had a good Kickstarter track record with your tabletop business side of
yeah.
things, right? And I know you mentioned there's not maybe not as much crossover as you would have liked, but there is a bit of crossover in that. So like your audience pool is widening on
Right.
Kickstarter. How have these campaigns been? So you did like 1 and 2, now we're doing 3 and 4. Are you
Mhm.
getting like new accounts coming to this, or is it mainly
Yeah,
the same people?
interestingly, Kickstarter just recently added a feature for creators called Advanced Analytics that lets you
Hmm.
see a ton of interesting new shit on Kickstarter for your campaign. So stuff like, you know, demographic and firmographic information, like where people are from that back down to like what state they're in and country,
Oh wow.
whether they've backed your previous projects, whether they're new to Kickstarter entirely, or whether they're people that are just new to you. So it's interesting to see that breakdown because you've got to guess at a lot of that stuff, and you use tools like BackerKit Launch historically and things that would try to do some of this like overlay analytics for you. But it's really interesting to see some of that now, and I think something like 35% of backers I have on this campaign are new to anything I've done, which is great. I mean, that's the
Cool.
goal is to kind of keep growing an audience, and with the understanding that I'm jumping around genres a lot, so there's not every backer is going to like every book I create, which is totally fine. But I'm going to have more people in my orbit of previous customers that'll hopefully be more keen to and open to want to buy new books I make.
Yeah, yeah. I never really thought about that because yeah, the books that you're making they're all wildly different.
Yeah.
You don't stay in a genre. Do, I mean, what's your preferred genre, or do you even have one? Like, do you have a comfort zone?
Oh man, I'm all over the place. I mean, I would say if I had to pick one that I would just do forever, if I was like knife to my throat, it would probably be straight sci-fi.
Okay.
But I mean, I got cyberpunk, horror, spy, espionage, like all over the place. I'm probably never going to do like a slice of life type book. That's not my jam. But everything else is fair game.
Nice.
And
Yeah.
no superhero. Actually, I'm not a
No
big fan of superhero
superheroes.
comics.
Okay. Hey, fair enough. For all I hear about it, I think indie superhero books are cool. I hear they're very hard to get running on Kickstarter. I feel like
Oh yeah,
I've
I
heard it's
mean,
always a challenge, like in that medium.
you're directly competing against 50 years of superhero comic stories, right? Like at least you can try to find a bit of a unique angle of some of the other genres. Not that everything hasn't been done to death, but the audience that likes to read superhero books is already reading superhero books and has to choose between 100 books every Wednesday on their pull list anyway.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's definitely it's cool, right? It's nice that we have such a wide berth of comic books to get into. That's the dream. We want that to
Mm-hmm.
stay, but it also it presents a challenge of like being seen, right, and finding
Oh
your
yeah,
audience and even when you find your audience to get your audience has to be able to afford to buy all these books from all these different people. That's kind of
right.
what's going on with Kickstarter right now because it's like everyone said, like now's the time. If you have a story to tell, you can tell it. You
Mm-hmm.
have the opportunity to do that, but so many people are going to Kickstarter that
Yep.
it's I wouldn't call it like a competition because Kickstarter is more like a big family. But it's like a huge family reunion, and there's so many cousins. Everybody brought food. You can't try every plate, right? Because we can't eat that much, and so
Mm-hmm.
like you have to be selective. You have to pick and choose, or maybe like I'll get this one and then I'll come back to this campaign later, and
Right.
you got to kind of play this game, which yeah, it makes things a little trickier. So there's a good and a bad side to the popularity of crowdfunding these days. Are you still feeling like comfy at Kickstarter? Have you ever thought about trying one of the other platforms?
I have thought about it. I did an Indiegogo campaign early on for one, like my second issue of Ignis Quadrant, and I definitely felt the difference, particularly the network effect. I had to hustle and market way harder to get eyeballs on the project than
Mm,
the ones that I did in Kickstarter. It felt pretty comparative in terms of like the tooling for creators to create the campaign and do everything.
Yeah.
I would love to try out Zoop or any of these other alternatives eventually for comics. Once I'm, I feel like I wouldn't lose anything by getting off Kickstarter, just because I have so many other projects that are lined up for kickstarting. Like for my EC3 tabletop business, I have like a fantasy deck of big plain deck of cards, some more tabletop gaming mats, like multiple projects that are done to be kickstarted. But I'm trying to figure out when I'm gonna schedule all this shit. And if I do those, I got to take a month and a half off or whatever for my comic release schedule too, because
Oh,
Kickstarter
yeah.
only lets you do one project at a time. So
Oh, I didn't think about that. And then if you split off and you made like another Kickstarter account,
mhm.
you're messing with your audience count and your mailing listings, or can you import that and kind of play that game?
Yeah. At this point, like you have all the emails off Kickstarter, right? So I still have like my own send grid and different backup can
Okay.
launch in different places. But to do that, you really have to jump through some hoops in Kickstarter and really prove that you have these are two separate business entities. Almost to
Okay.
the point where you have to have separate banking accounts and stuff because they really do their due diligence to vet that because they don't want people trying to like not
Screw
necessarily
people out of
scam,
money.
but a big part of what they do is they want to make sure that you're focused and dedicated, like because the amount of effort Kickstarter makes, they want to make sure you're not doing two at a time because if they
Oh,
know
okay.
creators are going to get distracted and shit, which I get what they're trying to do for some people, but I've done like 30 Kickstarters at this point. I could manage two at a time pretty easily, especially in totally different realms. But
Yeah.
that's their prerogative, I guess, to say that.
Yeah, I mean, I get, I like that they're protective of the backers. I do think that's
Hmm.
cool. I've been slacking on the chat. Let's say hi to people. We got Ronan. What's up, baby? Chug Chug. That's right. We got K-pop. Evan was just on K-pop show the other night. That was a great interview. Thanks for tuning in, K-pop. We got my co-host Cole. What's up? Friday night. I'm thinking that it's Monday. What? I can't ever understand. He's ever since Cole started playing frisbee golf. He loses me real quick.
Well, bro, it's not called frisbee golf. It's called disc golf. You're gonna
Okay.
anger people if you say frisbee golf.
It's funny he has a new disc golf YouTube channel, and he makes shorts, and like he
Yeah.
sends me the shorts and stuff, right? And so I always like them. And so now when I'm like trying to do shorts and see like Diablo videos and Destiny videos and shit that I usually nerd out to, I get all these like disc golf videos now because I've so he's totally fucked up my algorithm. But yeah, it's fine. I love him. And I like that he's found a new. Everybody needs a hobby
I
to do,
think
right?
I think the computer AI internet brain is just like Blake needs to get outside. He needs a hobby. We're
It
gonna keep
probably is.
feeding him
Yeah.
some other non-comic stuff to get his ass out into the fresh air a little bit, maybe.
I go outside with Bruce. So we like to play, but yeah, I also don't like the hot the heat. I don't like the heat.
Yeah.
And then we got what's up, Brovington? Thanks for tuning in. Thank you, Cole, for posting the link. That's the actual link. I'll make it even easier for you guys. TOXXcomic.com will get you right to where you need to be on Kickstarter. He's got that glamour link going because Evan is professional as fuck, ladies and gentlemen. He fulfills. He gets stuff out on time. That's but I love that about you, man. I love that even with all the stuff you've got going on, man, it's you balance things really well, which I'm jealous of actually, because I do not. Like I get bogged down and struggle sometimes and get a little lost. Even if I try and make like a to-do list or
Right.
like I'm trying to use my Google Calendar more. It's because I set up that deal where you can like I can give you like a link and you can pick a day and time to come on the show and it shows
Yeah.
my availability. So like
Like Calendly or whatever.
yeah, so I'm trying to like be better with all that stuff, but it just gets intense sometimes, and I don't even have a kid, and I'm single, and luckily like this, I've made this my day job, it's all kind of wrapped into the PR publicity press thing. How do you balance and keep track of stuff? Like, do you have like or do you have like a crazy planner and like task manager stuff? Like
Yeah, I
tell us your
mean,
secrets.
I've been an entrepreneur and a software engineer for most of my professional life. So I've tried a lot of different ways to keep organized and do different things. I've done like trouble boards in the past, which is like an agile type board where you have different categories and you can create cards and move them around and keep track of stuff that way, or time trackers. I've tried a lot of different shit, to-do lists, and some of it works, some of it doesn't. At this point, I just kind of I've adopted the mentality where like I have my inbox, my Gmail or whatever is I keep that as a to-do list. So it forces me to get rid of shit that is not relevant. So I try to, maybe I
Okay.
have 20 unread messages at a time in my inbox because I'll solve something and mark it as read. And then I just kind of, I guess I'm blessed with the ability to kind of context shift in my head rapidly, which helps. And then I just know, the squeaky wheel idea, whereas like if you got to do something, it'll come up enough times and then you'll get it done, right? And so a lot of the stuff you think you got to do, you don't actually have to do, or it's less important and it just kind of falls to the back. So
Okay.
it's worked for me so far.
Nice. What are there any? You said you mainly are in the Gmail app or the Google Suite for all. Is there any kind of like I know like there's like Evernote and all that kind of stuff. Like
Oh yeah,
anything like a. I know you use Buffer, and I've even got
Mhm.
to use your Buffer a little bit. But like, is there any kind of like app or software suite or web suite that you could recommend people that are either creators or content creators that kind of
For
helps
sure.
you stay organized and on task?
I mean, I live and die with Dropbox. I can't tell you, it's insane to me in this day and age how people are like, "Oh, lost this file. I can't believe it." Like everything I ever touch or create is immediately backed up via Dropbox across
Nice.
multiple computers in the cloud. Like I can't. It's like impossible to lose anything at this point. And then everything I do, like I see screenshots of writers writing stuff in like offline in Microsoft Word, or I'm like, what? Why would you do that in this day and age? Like, do it as a Google document, share it with your letterer, your artist, everybody. Let them comment right in line in there. Let everybody have access to the always up to date version of the file.
Yeah.
You can jump in there on your phone quickly and add notes when you're on the shitter if you think of something. Like just having everything online and connected like that is, I live and die by that. And I don't, it boggles my mind that everybody else doesn't do that. But I mean, I guess I live and breathe technology, so maybe it just seems like second nature.
I used to be scared of it a long time ago, but I'm not anymore. But it is funny. When I first realized I needed a planner, when like I started doing more shows or like a show every night,
Mhm.
and I because I've fucked up a couple times, man. Like I forgot I had
Yeah.
something scheduled, or even then, or like I got sick and forgot to like let somebody know, right? Because I mean, so like you found like you missed a show the other night because you got sick, and
Mhm.
sometimes shit happens, and so yeah, I've made a couple mistakes, and I was like, man, I don't you feel I felt like an asshole, right? So it's like you can't. I never wanted to do that again. And part of me is still analog, so I got like a planner, like a physical like academic planner to like write in,
Right.
and then I didn't keep up with it, and then now like I'm realizing how much easier like the Google Suite is, right? Because it's just I'm on the computer all day anyway.
Right.
Why am I not using this? It's a couple clicks, you type it, it sets up, it syncs everywhere, syncs to any kind of calendar app or whatever you need it
Yep.
to, and
100%.
then you get like the warnings and stuff on your phone, like you can set all that. So yeah, it's definitely beneficial. But yeah, there used to be a time where I was just like I was scared that the cloud wouldn't help. I have a funny
Yeah.
Dropbox story
The
actually.
cloud. Yeah. Quote
the
unquote.
my because I'm the marketing manager at Metal Ninja Studios, and Joel just upgraded us to we have like the business Dropbox
Yeah. Yeah.
account for everybody, and he even like it's me and his main designer. He bought us 10 gigabyte or 10 terabyte external hard drives,
Mhm.
and so because I quickly I didn't realize, I thought I told it what folders to sync, but all of a sudden like my brand new laptop. Well, I mean, it's a few months old, but it's my fairly new, powerful gaming laptop. All of a sudden was like the fans are screaming. It got real slow and was
Oh
acting
yeah.
weird. And then it was like, you're out of hard drive space. And I was like, no, I'm not. And then it like filled up my hard drive and couldn't download anymore because they got all the projects and stuff they've done. They got like 4 terabytes
Oh
of shit. So we get these external drives, we sync them up. So I use my laptop on a dock a lot. So like I'll dock it and use my external monitor, and then unplug the USB-C and
yeah.
take it if I wanted to work on the go, or just go inside or work in a different room. And the external hard drive stays out, and so all of us like one day like the projects folder, which was like a terabyte and a half of everything, like it got deleted because I unplugged my laptop and plugged it back in. Or yeah, I unplugged my laptop and Dropbox tried to sync, and it saw that the hard drive wasn't there anymore.
Oh
And
sure.
it was just like oh, we don't need these files anymore. And I was like, so yeah, now I have to like, it's a pain in the ass. Like I even read on Dropbox, they don't like it. They kind of tell you, they're like, we don't really like external hard drives. And now I know
Right.
why, but I basically have to like close and exit the app anytime I move my computer around. And then I like leave the sync on pause unless it's a clusterfuck. But yeah,
You shouldn't have to do all that, man. Dropbox is designed to not have to deal with that kind of crap.
see, I'm
You should
hoping
have,
it's a setting we can figure out or so like it's I'm probably maybe I need to talk to you about this like when we're not live, but it was my basically like I almost ruined my bot. I didn't. It was everything was backed up and it was easy to fix, but
right.
Joel like gave me shit. He was like, "Wow, I buy you a 10 terabyte hard drive and you try and delete my business." And I was like, "I didn't mean to." And then the designer, his lead designer, Christian, was like working on lettering and stuff and some big projects for Merck. And I guess like he saw the notification that like files were being deleted, and he was like, I guess I scared the shit out of everybody basically.
That's the beauty of Dropbox is after doing shit like that a couple times, you just go in there and you look at the history and you hit one button and it just all resets to.
Yeah, that's what Joel said. He said it was an easy fix. But yeah, other than that, like it is a very cool tool, especially when you have like a lot of people working on a lot of different things. So technology is definitely there to help the creatives.
I've used it over the years for like packaging a bunch of files for Kickstarter rewards too, and delivering it as like a Dropbox link because it's evergreen. You can change the files in there, you can bump versions, you can do anything, and then the original link is still valid. You know, and folks can just go to it and get the original file or the updated files.
Nice. Yeah, because I've always used Google because when I signed up for Google Fiber when they first rolled it out in Kansas City, they gave us a free terabyte of storage. So like I have a terabyte of cloud storage, which if you have to pay for isn't super cheap or it's a monthly fee. And so like I have that on my account forever, but I'm starting to find out that like no one likes Google Drive, and it's kind of sloppy.
Yeah.
Like Dropbox is way better and smoother. But yeah, I've used that forever because it was free. So now I'm having to learn Dropbox. Anyway, technology.
That's another, I guess, like quote pro tip or whatever, quote unquote. But like, you know, when you get like an issue of comics and you got the original inks and high resolution and the high res colors, then you got the lettering and then the print proofs and all the stuff. You know, that builds up quite a bit of space.
Yeah.
But you know, with Dropbox, and since I obviously trust Dropbox, you know, back issues of stuff that are already printed, you can just set it to online only, and it will delete them off your computer, but still keep a pointer file reference to it, so you can find it when you browse files and stuff. But the files are not on your computer, so you know, I have 8 gigs of shit or 8 terabytes of shit, but on my actual computer at one time is like a gig, or you know, a terabyte. So. But the rest is just there if I got to pull it in, you know.
You'd like I've got back into gaming because I got my laptop can game, and it's stupid, dude. Like I just got Destiny again, and like Destiny was like that was like 100 gigabytes of stuff. Like Diablo, I think is 150 gig. Like these, even when you have like a terabyte of storage, like you put a few games on it, and it's like you need to finish these or delete them, and so it's just like everything takes a ton of space, and I'm noticing. I never realized until recently, like how much space, like you said, comic book, like those TIFF files and stuff for Photoshop and stuff, and you know the lossless, you know, photography and
plus DPI.
Yeah, images, it's crazy, and but then you need them too, right? Because if you don't have them and you're just like pulling like JPEGs off the internet, and you try and like, you know, make HD graphics and stuff, and then they're all like blurry and they look unprofessional and shit. And then so yeah, but when you're compiling these PDFs and stuff, I don't think a lot of people realize that. Well, maybe everybody's just smarter than I am. I don't know, but all that stuff, it takes a lot of space, and there's just there's so many moving parts in comics, and on top of you know, deadlines and keeping your crews together and in the know, and you know, working with. Like I know some of your colors live like outside of the U.S. that you've been working with. And so, I mean, yeah, long story short, very impressive. You're able to do all that and like be a dad, be a husband, and have your day job.
Just don't sleep, man.
I've been working on that too. I started drinking caffeine water that I bought on Amazon.
Water?
Yeah, it's yeah, it's called Protein 2.0, and it's got 125 milligrams of caffeine and 15 grams of protein and no sugar, and it tastes better than Gatorade, and it's awesome.
Does it taste like water?
It's like they're flavored, so it's like flavored.
Oh,
So like they're I got
I was
like a
like,
cherry
fuck,
one that's more-
if they can make that taste like straight up water, that's a win. I remember when I was real young and first started my first software business, I was taking like green tea extract and caffeine pills because I'm like, I can't drink enough coffee to get this amount of caffeine, so I'm just taking pills. Those days are over.
I used to take green tea extract when I was lifting weights a lot too, like because on top of like getting you like juiced up, it like kind of like steadily burns fat throughout the day.
Yeah. Oh yeah, lots of different effects.
Yeah, I'm sure I don't have healthcare right now, but I'm living that freelance life. But yeah, I already know I have like high blood pressure, so like I'm sure if anybody found out I'm fucking pounding caffeine water, somebody's gonna yell at me. But oh well. But
I mean,
you gotta stay up. You gotta stay focused. You know?
Dude,
we
I
can't
found
all
out I
get
had
Adderall prescription.
subscriptions. Yeah. I found out I had high blood pressure like a month ago at the dentist, of all places. They're like taking my blood pressure. They're like, you have high blood pressure. I'm like, shut up, dentist. I don't need this right now.
Nothing ever good happens at the dentist, man.
Right.
Anyway, that's funny. But yeah, I guess real quick, I want to bring up the Kickstarter page just in case we get some new viewers or people that pop in see this later. So yeah, look, you've gotten a few new backers today. So you're at 130, 4,300. So we're over goal. Not quite at that 48. We'll hit that 48-hour mark tomorrow, which is kind of the other than launch, like the exciting Kickstarter time, because you do get that like last minute surge, which is nice. But yeah, so you can get issues 1 through 4, and you can get those physically or digitally, and then I still love this cover. This guy freaks me out, dude. He makes me wildly uncomfortable, but I also love him on the page. He's just so violent and mean, and I know he wants to eat that baby. And it's like, spoiler alert: the mutants want to eat the baby.
Yeah,
we found out about that several issues ago. So
I don't think that's too much of a spoiler.
I could really spoil some shit for you folks, but I'm not gonna because I want you to feel the shock and heartbreak like I did. I know when Evan sent me the new issue and he asked me what I thought about it, and I was like, "You heartless bastard!" It just, but it
creates
builds
the drama.
Yeah, it's drama. It's high tension. It's issues 3 and 4. I haven't read comics that fast in a while, and it's like the dialogue was good, the art's great, but there's some really good action sequences with some very like Mad Max vehicle heavy action sequences and stuff, and there's some good gore and violence, and it's just like you have to read it once and then go back to kind of really dive into the art, because
finish your cry after issue 4.
Yeah, get your cry out and then go back and think about it a little bit more. And then here's some good quotes, especially that Blake's Buzz one is pretty solid. But that's another thing that I'm not sure if people know. Like, we've gotten these into the hands of some reviewers, and everybody fucking loves it. Like everybody's stoked for it. Everybody's stoked for the new Kickstarter campaigns. It's it just generally, even amongst press, has been like pretty universally excited about it, which is another kind of rare instance in comics, because even if the writing's good and the art's good, sometimes like the genre just isn't for people. But like this kind of like, I don't know, like I feel like we're all obsessed with dystopias because we're kind of like
living
congregating into our own, right? So it's nice to see a world that's more fucked up than the one we live in. But we have gotten a lot of really good responses from press and the backers that have already got issues 1 and 2. They've posted their thoughts. Like people dig it. Are you thinking about, like, I know it gets harder with the kid and stuff, but like, are you going to table at any con? Are you going to take it on the road ever?
Yeah, I will. I mean, I've done some local ones recently, and I'll do some more local ones soon. Honestly, like, everyone has an opinion on this, but some of the big cons that tend to be a little bit more focused around fandom aren't as good for comic creators anymore. But I hope to get to a few of the more comic focused bigger cons next year.
Nice.
So yeah, definitely. I'll be, after TOXX is wrapped up here and I have it, the first series in a trade, I'll have 3 collected trades from different stuff at this point. So I think I can make a pretty good showing at a table.
What would be, so it would be TOXX,
Yep.
Ignis, and then
Ignis Quadrant, and then the Mixology Noir was the first one. I guess it's not a trade, but it's a double feature.
Oh, but it's okay. It's a nice perfect balance.
Yeah, and I'm going to be kickstarting that next one is the project probably coming after TOXX is done. Either that or my anthology. I haven't decided yet. But.
Nice. Yeah, I'm very stoked for that new mixology. Another one I've got to read the new the new dual mixology noir books, and they're both dude, those new ones hit really, really hard. Especially as someone who used to drink too much, like when I was working at the bar and did a bunch of stupid shit. Like it really hit home, and I was like, damn, that very close to like that could have been me territory almost. And it was just like, I don't know, it was like a kind of a wake up call, or call to action. But yeah, alcohol is fun and delicious and nice sometimes, but it's very easy to go a little overboard with it. And I love that you play with that in really dark and twisting ways with like really solid twists. And Eric Palicki, your co-writer on TOXX, is your editor on Mixology Noir. And so you guys are starting to build more and more of a relationship together. And so I get excited when you guys are working together, because you're vibing better. You get to know, I'm like, the communication gets a little easier, gets a little better, every time, I'd imagine, right?
Oh yeah, it definitely does. And Eric's a great editor in that he can tell when you need a lot from him or when you want, you really put your heart and soul into something, and you don't want a lot of direction, but more like help with the small details, as any good editor should do. But I love the mixology noir stuff. I really do. But that's an interesting case for like going into it. I'm like, all right, a double feature, like the way to optimize value on Kickstarter is to do single issue campaigns, right? Because you can get the most money at a time. So then I'm doing double issue campaigns, which is, you leave a little bit of money on the table doing that for the benefit of less overhead for myself in terms of having to do 2 Kickstarters. But I think, but more backer benefit because they can get 2 books at a time, but then the price point's a little higher. So you price some people out. But Mixology Noir is like double features don't really sell good because you're making 2 books and you're selling it as 1 book, right?
Yeah.
And then horror is a popular genre, but doesn't ever really fund like super high. People then do a lot of single issues. And it's not a genre I've built up a lot of recognition in yet. So I know it's like not going to be that successful with Kickstarter, but I just had to make those books, and I love that they exist.
Are you going to go? People that don't know this, the first Mixology Noir book is gorgeous. It's like embossed, it's white, it's got foil on it. You read it, and then you flip it over and read it the other way. It's a very, very beautiful package. Are you gonna drop the bones and kind of keep that production level up, or it's exactly,
the second one is exactly the same. It's the same style, same cover artist, even with the same, it'll be embossed, foiled, even better interior art. Yeah, same exact format.
Nice, cool. I like again, another thing I like about you, and there are numerous Kickstarter people that will nerd out on paperweight, on cover stock, and really go the extra mile to make a better package, because there is a Kickstarter, there is a crowdfunding premium. You are having to pay a little bit of extra money. And it's nice when you guys find a way to, compensate that. We're like, yeah, you're going to pay extra money, but you're going to get something that looks a lot better than stuff you're buying in shops. It's not going to as soon as you like unwrap it from the plastic in the comic book shop, it's not going to like shrivel up from the moisture of the air.
That's something that kind of a pet peeve of mine, like something like definitely special features like in Mixology Noir. It's a perfect bound, square bound book with soft touch laminate, foil stamping, and embossing. Like every one of those things costs extra money, right? So that's built into the pricing. But when you're doing single issues of stuff, like there's no reason not to upgrade the paper to like a nice 80-pound cover paper, instead of doing like a cheap uncoated paper. The difference, even for a small print run, is like often like 5 cents a book or less. And many creators don't do it. Yeah, it's like I will not make a book that doesn't have high quality paper, even if I have to eat $50, $100 to do it, because the quality of the book is just so much better. It's going to last longer. I'm going to feel better about that book, So it's a pet peeve of mine when you get a book on Kickstarter and it's printed on shitty 60-pound untreated paper. unless it's like newsprint and that's part of the book style, but
Yeah.
otherwise give me a nice paper, man. Like this isn't a shitty Marvel book. I want something high quality.
Nice. And these stories deserve high quality, and they, that you want pages that, the color's not going to bleed through, that's going to look good. Especially TOXX, like this kind of warm, dry,
Mhm.
desert-like palette that you got going. It just looks really great on the page, and yeah, you want these you want these pages to pop. You want them to feel good
Right.
in
Yeah, that's
people's
another
hands.
thing. Like the bright saturated colors, you print that on a gloss paper, which is a little more expensive paper, but it makes everything seem so much, brighter and nicer. And another thing that a lot of people don't know is like when you're looking at a comic book on a computer screen or an iPad or whatever, it's backlit. So the brightness
Yeah,
you see there, even at the best quality printing you can ever do, you're going to lose 15% or so brightness when
yeah.
it's printed. So, paying a little bit extra for gloss paper for a sci-fi or cyberpunk or post-apoc book just to make that color really look like it's intended is a no-brainer in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. I get spoiled because my tablet has that OLED screen on it,
Right.
and like, yeah, when you crank it up, dude, I watch most movies and stuff on my tablet because it's nicer than all my TVs. Like, I can't afford like a 60-inch OLED because they're super pricey. But like,
Oh
so
yeah.
like a lot of times, like I lay on the couch or lay in bed, and I watch movies on my tablet with like headphones or something.
Hmm.
Or actually, sometimes not even with headphones because the speakers are decent. But yeah, those like the colors and stuff pop, and I do a lot of my reading digitally because of press and review
Hmm.
copies and stuff I get. And yeah,
And it's a
sometimes
better way to read in my opinion, but
it is. Yeah, it's
that
nice. You can
angers people sometimes.
like eat Taco Bell and then like swipe the screen and be like, "Oops, I got sauce on my screen." It wipes right off. If you're reading a fucking $100 hardcover and you drop sauce on like that's not good. Or like
Hmm.
the greasy thumbprints and stuff. You can't wipe those away. But yeah, it's I agree. And so yeah, anything you can do to kind of like you said, make those pages pop, make them look a little better. And it's I think it's a good. I think it's a good. What am I trying to say? Like it's a good symbol for your audience. Like you care about this book, but you also care about them. You want them to get their money's worth.
Yeah,
You
for the
want them to
extra
get a
money for the
quality
backers,
product.
right? For
Yeah,
sure, yeah.
because I mean, without backers, like you said, like you're going to have all these ideas. You got to tell these stories. And then you could do it till you run out of money.
Hmm.
But like that's going to happen a lot sooner if the backers aren't backing the campaign and
For
helping it
sure.
out that way. So yeah, um, you know, I I like that you care about your audience a lot, and and you see that in the productions that you guys that you put out. So like very much Woven Press, ladies and gentlemen. It's on all the social medias. You need to follow Woven Press to keep track of what Evan's doing. He's doing some cool stuff. And then yeah, if you like tabletop gaming and stuff, he's got like a whole other world you can dive into with like. And so I really encourage, if you're not following him and having him on your radar, you need to change that ASAP. And then real quick, let's talk about some of the stuff we can get.
Yeah.
These digital tiers I think are super fair. This $30 package I think is super fair. So you get 4 issues. You get the Mixology Noir. I get 74 pages. You get a all it basically because yeah, 'cause there's a 0 issue, so it's what, a 7 issue
Yeah,
trade,
it's a full length 0 issue, so it's a 6 issue trade. Yep.
a 6 issue. Okay, so yeah, so you're getting like many pages of digital comics for $30, and I've read all of these, and it's damn good. Like Ignis Squadron is so fun, and it's like it's Wild West in the cosmos, and I don't know.
Hmm.
Like if you like Guardians of the Galaxy, if you like stuff like that, this is gonna sing to you. It's gonna sing a tune that
Oh,
you
we're
know and
making
love.
I'm writing the next story arc too, and art is about 2/3 done for the first issue, and I love all the projects I have made and have in the hopper, but the Ignis Squadron is just the closest to my heart. I'm so excited to be back in there making the next story arc too.
Was that your first comic?
Yep.
It was. I thought it was. Yeah. So it's always gonna be your baby.
Hmm.
Even with
100%.
all the new
Yeah.
stuff. I love it. Is that gonna be like? Because you're doing a new arc. I mean, is that gonna be like a long running, or like how long would you take that? Like if you could.
Yeah, I mean, it depends like that. I have multiple other series I'm working on that I'm pitching to publishers and trying to get in the direct market as well. So TOXX obviously is coming out in the direct market from Blood Moon. I have multiple of these other series I'm working on. I've talked to publishers about, and will most likely make it into the direct market as well. But I
Nice.
don't think the Ignis Squadron, I think I would never do that. I would never give anybody else control of that and just self-publish that myself. And I think the story I have in mind will be wrapped up in three arcs, so
Okay.
3 volumes. But I mean, I have a whole anthology in that universe that I started 2 years ago that has some amazing indie creators on it that I just have been waiting for the right time to bring to market.
Ooh.
And I keep adding to it, so that I'm excited for that too. And grow in the universe. I have a board game I'm working on for the Ignis Squadron. I have a bunch of 3D crap. It's just a property I want to do a lot with, I guess.
That's exciting. I like that. I want I would like an anthology, a game, a comic. Like you bring it all together, and that dude, that'll be a fun Kickstarter too, right?
Oh
Because you
man,
can.
the board game I think is I'm the most excited about. So it's the idea is that I want to bring comics into it. So it's a multiplayer board game, right? Where you're playing like a live. It's not really a skirmish. It's kind of a story driven mission where each person is like a faction, and you have your own goals. But each level starts with a comic story. So there's a comic for each of the factions, and then you'll read like a 4 or 5 page intro for it from the angle of your faction leading into it. So part of playing this game is going to be reading these comic stories that are taking place as well. And as a reader of
Nice.
comics and a board game player, I want those things together, and I've never seen it happen. So
Yeah,
I'm
same.
pretty excited to do
I've
that
only
too.
seen it with like pros, like a lot of these
Right.
like Dungeons and Dragons, Magic the Gathering. Magic the Gathering has some comics now, but even the comics now, like the new stuff from Boom,
Hmm.
like I was told they're not in canon. Like they're fun, they're based off lore, but
Right.
they're not canon. But yeah, usually that's saved for pros and for like novels and stuff. Not many people are tying the board game into like the comic book realm and utilizing both of those mediums to like tell bigger stories and make bigger interactions for the
Hmm.
players and the audience. So yeah, that's exciting. I have no idea how you guys come up with rules for games.
Oh, that's the hardest part.
I bet.
There.
I bet.
So there's it's are you familiar with the idea of open source?
No. I mean, I know like for like software and stuff like
Yeah, it's the same idea. It's just basically the fact that there's things that exist out there that have permissive licenses that you can use to
okay.
pull into stuff, and there's like the open gaming license and different things too. But the way a lot of games work is that they will be based on a well-known and well like respected and proven play tested style of gameplay. So in tabletop gaming, there's like the D20 is an example of a system where
Mhm.
there's like your 6 main attributes. You build characters a certain way, but then you build a game around that. It can be in your own world, your own unique angle, but you don't have to reinvent the wheel and learn about how to balance, the mechanics and
Oh,
everything. So there's some angles like that you can take where you're not doing it from scratch because coming up with the rules is easy, but coming up like play testing rules and making them balanced and making it work and making it stay interesting with ongoing repetitive play and stuff is where it really gets challenging.
okay. Okay. So yeah, you have like an architecture or a skeleton that you can build on and then throw meat and
Correct.
skin on it and make it pretty.
Exactly. Yep.
Make it your kind of
And
pretty.
then
Okay.
so then you're basically building the world and the flavor and maybe some interesting mechanics, but you're starting with some known and accepted framework that works.
Okay. All right. And then here's the we've kind of been scrolling through the covers and stuff that you
Hmm.
can all get. Here's the team. We got Evan the leader, Eric the co-writer, Ben Morrell is the guy who's making all these tasty images you've been seeing us scroll through. Well, the interior pages, not there's a lot of cover artists.
Hmm.
Marta and Demir is are your colors. I actually used Demir for my short in Cthulhu Invades Neverland, which is
Nice.
almost it's about in the same spot. You guys both have about just a handful of days left, but yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
Demir is a solid talent and
Oh, yeah, it's great.
very yeah he does good work. You got James as your editor. You got this dude doing your PR and marketing. I guess he does all right. I don't know. I'm very stoked to work with Evan. I've been having a blast working with him, getting to know him. And like I said, the dude overloads my inbox with just new comics like every few weeks. I feel like I'm just like, when do you? Well, he already said he doesn't sleep, but it's just crazy. He's always got new stuff in the pipeline and ready to go. But a really awesome team of people, and all of us want nothing more than to put cool comics out there for fans, for us. You know, the stuff we would like to read, the stuff we'd like to celebrate, and we're trying to vibe with the audience and get them the stuff that they deserve. And Woven Press is very much doing that. Like, very much like, well, you have a really great eye for art. And you tell great stories too, but you are really good at picking artists for these different projects you're working on. And when the styles shift in genre, and you're good at finding artists that like follow that shift. And
that's one of my favorite parts of the process, for sure.
Is it really? It doesn't stress you
I
out?
love it.
It would stress me out so bad.
My favorite part of a process of creating a book is honestly before the book actually starts. In many cases, just like bringing the team together, determining what it's going to look like, getting some sample pages, thinking about the best way to do that, playing with like lettering styles, coming up with a logo, like we'll call it branding. Like that's my favorite part of the whole process. I love doing that so much.
Nice. How did you learn to, because you're self-taught letterer, right? Like,
yep.
How did you teach yourself how to do that? Because the lettering in all your books is good. Like, it's really good, and it's very clear in what you want in a comic.
Yeah, I mean, I started doing Photoshop when I was 13 years old or whatever. I wanted to do computer game design when I was young, so I started to learn computer programming and graphic design, and then I did a lot of website creation. So I did a lot of graphic design through that, and then I became a professional software engineer, but I always kept a passion for graphic design and logo creation and stuff. So I just been doing it for 20 some years in various. I've never been a professional graphic designer, but I've done freelance stuff and just kept it going for my own stuff. I've always loved to create my own branding, even for my software businesses and different stuff that I've done too. So it's just a passion, I guess, that
nice.
I've kept up to date with a skill set.
So lettering and graphic design is very similar to each other?
Oh yeah, I mean, it's digital lettering for sure. Like if I was doing hand lettering, very much not so. But yeah, digital lettering is graphic design. I mean, you're working often with vector graphics. I use Illustrator specifically, but some people use Photoshop or other vector programs. So yeah, it's absolutely like you have to have the eye for it, I guess, and understand like lettering in general and color theory and how that stuff comes together. But you could take any good graphic designer and teach them how to be a comic book letterer if they had an eye for it pretty quickly, I think.
Do you ever hand letter anything, or any like the bigger sound effects or anything like that?
I've done some digital hand lettering where you're like creating stuff with brushes and stuff, but never like traditionally on paper.
Okay.
Or anything, no.
Okay. Nice. Dude, that's so cool. As someone who's like self-taught, stupid camera, like a lot of stuff I do is self-taught as well. I mean, just like, the whole promo stuff, and I use Canva because I'm like, Photoshop scares me. I won't lie.
I mean, if you Photoshop, the learning curve,
it's expensive as fuck.
Well, it's not expensive when you pirated it for the first 20 years. Then I can justify it now. They're getting their money from me now, but when I was 15 years old, it was coming right off a torrent.
Yeah, I remember those days. Yeah, like back when like the dial-up days when we would make like little band logos and stuff, and we'd put like banners on it, and then put like a real looking spider on it, and
you had to make your MySpace background.
CRT, yeah, putting it on your MySpace, and
if I didn't know any better, I swear that like Adobe was putting their own software out to pirate illegally, just knowing that folks like myself that were like creating MySpace pages and doing all that shit, we're going to use it and start to get used to the software and then become professional people that pay monthly fees for CS subscriptions because that's what I've used for 20 years. Like, I feel like that maybe was a strategy somewhere.
That makes sense, because there's not.
Don't pirate our software, young people.
Like, I know there's like GIMP is out there. Some people, and it's free, but I know it's not perfect, and people have opinions on that. But there's not a ton of software. Like, it's a very niche pool of digital content creation. in
Yeah,
that regard.
there's better options than there used to be, but I would say like if you want to be able to work in any type of medium and be able to like you're doing web design, you're exporting stuff for web, you're doing, graphic lettering, you're creating a wedding brochure, like any number of things you're doing. Like there's nothing as general purpose but powerful still as Adobe's products. I mean, obviously they've been the grill in the room for 30 years. So
Yeah, yeah. It's the Don. It's Don Corleone. Like you got, you're like
mhm.
you're always going up to Adobe asking for a favor on his daughter's wedding day. It's like it's what's something that you haven't tackled yet that, and this could be in comics or gaming or whatever.
Mhm.
Like what's something that's like been on the back burner or like in the back of your skull rambling around genre wise or project wise that like you keep coming back to, but maybe you haven't found the right way to tackle it. Like you have anything like that? Like a weird, not a passion project, because that's pretty much what Ignis
Yeah.
is, but like something
No,
something weird.
yeah. Well, so there's actually a pretty cool children's book that I started with actually Devin Narscott is the co-writer in that, if you know Devin.
Yeah.
And I was really hot and bothered, ready to go with that. And we got through the outlining of the whole series and brought in a really awesome editor, got some good sample pages initially. And then, based on some feedback, wanted to go back and, kind of do some restructuring and rejiggering before we really dove into the scripting.
Mhm.
And then at that point, I realized I had like 12 projects on my plate, and I kind of ended up backburning that a little bit. And
Okay.
I'm really excited for that project, but it's like I need to get some of these ones done so I can really focus on that one like wholesale, because it's a bit ambitious and I want to do it all the service it deserves. But I'm excited to get back to that project eventually, and it's definitely outside of my, the normal type of stuff I've been doing. The audience would be very, very differently. I would probably try to get a literary agent to actually like, shop that to
Oh yeah.
different publications and stuff. So I think it'll be better, a year from now or whatever. Who knows when I'll actually get time to get back into it. But when I'll have more experience and maybe a better name in comics, hopefully. But I'm excited to get back to that one.
That's cool. From what I've heard too, it's a lucrative field. The children's literature, whether it's prose or illustrated prose or like a children's graphic novel, like there's a lot of
Yeah.
there's a lot of money to be made and like wide audiences that are continuously hungry because you crazy people just want to have kids all the goddamn
Well,
time.
selfishly, I want to create something that my son can read before
Yeah.
he's 18, because I am not giving him any of the shit I write now. I mean, there's a lot of sex, drugs, and rock and roll in all my comics. And
yeah. That would be the like the upper side of high school territory, right? Like you teach him to drive, and then you teach him about your comics.
I think TOXX, I would feel comfortable giving TOXX to like a mature, like 14 or 15-year-old.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
like Ignis Quadrant, probably not. I don't know.
I feel like
Nostalgia
when he's older too, like TOXX will be something cool for him to see, like what Dad made, because like
his life inspired that book too.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. If people don't know this, like a lot of like Evan's fears of like having a child during quarantine and lockdown and how crazy scary that was. No one wants to be in a hospital during a quarantine, and just like all the unknowns that come with that, and a lot of those fears you were able to creatively manipulate into a really great story, which is like, not everybody can do. Like some people just like look at fear and cower, or compensate in unhealthy ways like alcohol or drugs or even or even denial and like anger, and you didn't do that. You totally took that inspiration and took that power and made it real and made it something else that you could manipulate and control. And that was another really cool thing about you as a storyteller. I very much respect.
Thank you. Well, there's a kind of a touchstone to help people understand how long it takes to make comics. Like I put everything that I had behind making this book finished as fast as I could from its inception, which was the day my child was born, and he's older than 2 years old now, and we're getting issue 4 of TOXX now. So it's comic books take a long freaking time.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't know that is how slow this industry moves, like at a snail's pace. And And
Mhm.
it fucks with some people too, because it's like if you see people get lucky quick, because it happens every now and then, and
Yeah.
then you see that and you're like, why didn't I get lucky quick? Am I doing something wrong? And it's like, no, some people just get lucky, right? Sometimes you're an ugly, chud-looking person who lands a really gorgeous partner, or it's just like every now and then, like the stars align and you get lucky, but it's rare. It doesn't happen all the time. And this industry is about patience, it's about resilience, and it's about passion. If it's not
Mhm.
if you think you're going to get rich quick, or at all, you're in the wrong industry. But it's
Right.
if you're looking for like next day success, it's not going to happen, right? Like there's a labor of love to be a comic book creator, and you have to have that. You Rick Remender said it best, and I know you like I know you like Rick, because we've
Mhm.
talked about that, and Fear Agent is one of both of our favorite comics,
Yep.
and like
Absolutely.
and Rick said, like, unless you wake up in the morning wanting to make comics and go to bed at night wanting to make comics, and in your midday shit you're on the toilet thinking about making comics, unless that's you, you probably shouldn't make comics. It's not a hobby. It's a necessity, right? It's a passion. It's
Mhm.
something inside of you that has to get out. It's a biological thing within you that you can't separate from yourself. And from what I've talked to you about, from what you've said on the show and said in other interviews, like that's you. Like you your life would be easier, if you weren't, chasing a lot of these
Oh
endeavors.
man, exponentially easier.
But it's also, I hope I mean, like it is somewhat like, I mean, like you got talks in the direct market. You can walk into a comic book shop and see your number one issue, and you get new backers for these campaigns, and even if some of them move a little bit slower, like the campaigns fund, you're
Mhm.
printing these comics, you're telling these stories, your new people are seeing them, they're getting good reviews, the press you've talked to is excited about it, they like reading your comics, so then you are getting some fulfillment out of it,
Oh, for
like
sure.
it's
Yeah.
it's it's it's
I
it's
mean,
enough to keep
yeah.
pushing you.
I mean, I had no, what I'm trying to say here, like, I had no disillusions that it would be a long process, right? I think, the Kickstarters are a long game, right? Every new Kickstarter gives me another book that, and it eventually gets collected into another trade. And then, a year, 2 years, 3 years down the road, I have more and more stuff on my table at cons. That's all money that can help fund more books.
Yeah.
It's just a slow rolling snowball, that hopefully will just get bigger and bigger every time I make a new book. It doesn't get too yellow in the process. Nobody wants yellow snow.
No, I was wondering if that's where you were going with that. The
Yeah,
old
I don't know where I'm going. My brain's like kind of tired, so I'm coming up with analogies that probably don't make sense. But
I still remember the old South Park N64 game where you
mhm.
could roll the snowballs and you could like press the button and they would like, it wouldn't show it, of course, but they would like piss in the snowball and it would turn yellow and it would do more damage, like in the
Yep.
in the 4-player melee. Anyway, that was my childhood. But yeah, I know. I've kept you for an hour, and I know you've got things. You got a sick baby you got to take care of, and I know you got a wife who's damn tired of all these interviews you've been doing.
No
But
comment.
but I like she's a good lady though. But it's and one thing, the reason we went late tonight, ladies and gentlemen, is because like and another thing I love about Evan is like you don't fuck with bedtime in the Carothers household.
You
Like
do, you do not.
you start his interviews a little bit late because like the family gets together, the kid, they put the kid to bed together, is very much like a mom, dad, baby, this tradition. And I don't know, I thought that was like really heartwarming, as someone whose parents cast him out on the street. I'm just kidding. I have a good family. I have a good
Jeez,
family, and
I was like, this is taking a dark turn,
that's
man.
why I that's why I appreciate it. Is because it's you know it's lucky when you get a family that cares about little things like that. Sometimes
Yeah.
it seems silly, but then when you grow up and you think about stuff like that when you're older,
Oh man, it
and how
doesn't feel
lucky we
silly
are.
to me at all. That's the stuff I remember, and that was the most important to me when I was a kid. Got
Nice.
to keep that shit going generation after generation.
Yeah. I'm with you. So yeah, it's I make jokes and stuff, but yeah, I love I love the priorities Evan has, and he's always he's like, because I sometimes I forget and I'm like, yeah, we're going live at 7. He's like, and I'm like, oh yeah, all right, we're going live after bedtime. I'm sorry. But yeah, I know you got things to do, and dude, this hour went by really fucking fast. I don't know. Like I guess I haven't talked to you in a little bit, so I was like,
always plenty to chat about.
there's always something. It's never boring in the Evan household. He's always got something going on. But I put up the link there, toxcomic.com. Coming up on just under 3 days left. Like help this campaign in strong. I cannot recommend these new issues enough. They're phenomenal. You don't want to wait. Don't wait for a direct market release. Don't wait for a trade. Don't wait for issue 5. Evan fulfills quickly, so get this now. You want these issues. Like, you want them before everybody else. Like, don't let other people spoil it for you. Or
I mean, I'm gonna cut you off to say, if you're a person who likes trades like I am, you can wait for the next campaign to buy the trade too.
Or
I won't hold it against you.
Or you can double it. You can buy them both. Sure. Yeah, it's long story short, it's just, I am so invested in this just because I can't wait to see the finale. These new issues, it feels like every issue is just gets better. And the first one was great, and the second one was even better, and the third one got crazy, and the fourth one got even crazier, and also a little sad. And like it's just that snowball analogy, right? Like it's coming down the fucking mountain, and it's getting bigger, and it's getting meaner, and it's getting crazier. And that's what the wasteland is. It's this big, mean mutant that everybody has to wrestle with, whether it's Claire or her cohorts in the story, or it's the creators, if it's Evan and Eric, and or if it's the audience and it's us reading it. Like it's a big, heavy, scary rolling mass that's just that, like every panel is phenomenal, and you keep carrying on with that trend, baby. And like I'm here for it. Like I'm really excited. Nice. And I'm really excited for backers to get a look at this and stuff. And yeah, there will be a trade. So I mean, maybe, but I also, like, a lot of people have been backing the singles. So like,
yeah, keep doing it. No, I get that. Back. To each their own. Me as a collector, or not collector, as a consumer, I vastly prefer trades because I would like to sit down. I like to crush a story.
Yeah.
I hold it against nobody that wants to wait for a trade.
Which is funny.
I love reading trades,
because you go all out on you have some really awesome variants. So it's like, I like that. I get the value of that, and I know people like to collect, Yeah,
and I love, and if nothing else, it gives me an opportunity to work with other artists too, which I personally appreciate. It's as much for me as it is anything.
Do you kind of scout? Like, is that kind of a way to scout? You like have them do a variant, see how they do, and then you're like, all right, maybe.
Yeah, a lot of people who do covers too don't necessarily do sequentials, and I have a lot of my sequential stuff already sorted out. I just love the experience of working with a new person and seeing their creative, angle and vision come to light is just a fun, rewarding process that I just enjoy doing. It's just fun.
Well, that's one of the reasons why we love comics, is because it's fun. Yeah, it get aggravating sometimes. Yeah, it gets to be weird sometimes, and some people are little turds, but it's still fun. And you gotta have fun. And I feel like from what I've read from Evan, I don't know how he's telling these stories and not having fun. So I feel like he's definitely having fun. There's a lot of love in every comic he produces, and very much encourage anybody who's new to him or Woven Press to really, like, there's a wealth of stuff you can dive into on this campaign. Lots of great add-ons and stuff. If you want to go through his backlog, really, really encourage you to do so. I have yet to read something from him that I was like, I could have passed on that. It's honestly, and it's like, you're killing it, dude. And I don't want to get cheesy. I'm proud of you. You're doing a good job, man. And
you're like the creepy old uncle at the barbecue who's just still proud of me.
You're a creepy younger uncle. Oh man. Well, I like I said, I know. I don't want to keep you too much longer. I know you got stuff to do, but anything you want to shout out or say before we say goodnight and play the music?
No, just thanks to everybody who's been willing to take a chance and spend $1 or $2 on Woven Press books and enjoyed them. There's a lot more coming. I'm really excited about the future stuff, and TOXX is something I'm very proud of, inspired by a super personal and amazing experience in my life, and I want to share that all with you by way of the comic. So go read it.
Do it. Go read it. Go back it. You got a couple days left, or just under 3 days left. There's a tier waiting for you somewhere. I promise you, it's worth checking out.
Yep.
You don't want to miss Claire, who's my new favorite mom to be, and just humanity is the fate of humanity is resting on her shoulders. No pressure. What's gonna happen? I have no idea. But I have no doubt Evan and crew are gonna kill that ending, and I can't wait to see what happens. Thank you so much for chatting with me yet again. I can't. You just can't quit me, and I love it. It's always nice to find out people aren't tired of me. Same with you viewers who tuned in live or will tune in later. I really appreciate all of you. Everybody, please remember, love more, hate less, read comics. TOXXcomic.com. Those are some comics that you should hate less and read more of. I very much promise you. Evan, I hope the kiddo feels better soon,
sure.
and I hope if you do decide to sleep, I hope maybe you get some.
Oh, I'm going to bed in 8 minutes. Don't worry.
Everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. We'll be back. I'll be back tomorrow with Merc Publishing. We'll be back. I'm off Wednesday because my guest got COVID, unfortunately. So Wednesday I'm off, and then Thursday and Friday I have people. I don't remember who's coming on, but yeah, tomorrow we'll be here with Merc Publishing. Their campaign's kind of hurting. It's like $75,000. So tune in. Let's help them out. I don't know why. I'm glad they're coming on my show, but it's like sorry you got to put up with me when you already made $75,000. I feel like most people are like, we raised that money so we don't have to put up with your bullshit. Anyway, I'm very excited to talk to them. They do a lot of work with Metal Ninja Studios. They're good people and do some they do some cool stuff, and their comics have like 75 variants for each issue. So like they really there's something for you in that campaign. I promise you. But yeah, anyways, like Evan, I'm sorry. I will shut up. I swear to God. Everybody, thank you so much. Back to campaign. Don't just back to campaign, follow Evan. Like follow him on social medias. He puts up like cool pages, kind of like little tasty treats and morsels of the new stuff he's working on. Like follow him, keep track of him, because in the realm of indie comics, I promise you, Woven Press it's going to be a big deal. It's going to be something worth keeping an eye on, and he just continues to put out really great content, and he's a good dude. He's a good dude, a good family man, a good storyteller, and he works with awesome creators and indie comics. I don't know what more you can ask for. He's just doing it.
Renaissance man.
Yeah, exactly. Letterer, storyteller. All right. But yeah, everybody have a great night. We will be back tomorrow. Evan, you do the same, man. Get some sleep. Let those wheels run around in your head while you're dreaming. Wake up, get some more ideas. However that chaos works for you, whatever you got to do to keep on keeping on. We'll be back later, everybody. Have a wonderful night.